wish I were an Oscar Mayer wiener.
Wiener.
That is what I'd really like to be. 'Cause if I were an Oscar Mayer wiener, everyone would be in love with me. Hot dogs! Armor hot dogs! What kind of kids eat armor hot dogs?
Okay, so don't hit that level, and we're fine.
Please, for the love of God, use that for something.
Oh, that's the opening.
That's the opening music.
That was so good. A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast. My name is Caitlin, and with me today are...
Jake!
Damn it, how am I supposed to follow that? Chris.
Ames.
And special guest...
I am James!
Jay!
I'm here!
It's been a while, James.
Booms!
Well, success breeds contempt. We were just talking about this. And this is episode 303!
Hey.
Halfway to 606.
True.
I don't know.
That's the mark of the beast.
606?
Sure, why not?
Quick,
It's a
somebody
lesser beast.
tell me what area code that is so we can laugh at those people. Today, surprising no one, we're going to talk about 2 more episodes of Star Trek The Voyager, starting with Muse and wrapping up with Fury. I hate myself. In Muse, B'Elanna hath crashed her craft onto the distant shores of
Yea, verily. They don't get a name.
Oh, some L-class planet. We know that.
Yes,
that gets pounded in like 45 times. L-class planet.
L is for loser.
It's just mean.
I mean,
they're trying
look,
their
look
best.
at their dress. Look how they're dressed, though.
They're not advanced yet.
I know. Well,
They're constantly at war with themselves.
God, which as a note, like, let's just talk about all the first contact fuck-ups, but we'll get there.
Yes.
But yeah, in Muse, we open and we're watching some, like, old school Shakespeare theater in the round shit.
Yeah, it's Greek theater.
Shakespearean Greek theater.
There it is.
People are like wearing masks, and there's like a chorus, and they're like, and then B'Elanna came from shining Voyager, blah blah blah, whatever. And it's but like, how do these people know these characters? How do they know about B'Elanna? How do they know about Voyager? How do they know about Harry Kim? What?
Is it Living Witness? I hope it's Living Witness. Oh no, it's Muse. Right, I forgot.
So it turns out that our buddy Kellis, the poet, who is the playwright who's writing and putting on these plays, he apparently found B'Elanna after she crashed the Delta Flyer, tied her up, and like, he listened to the logs on the ship to write his first play about B'Elanna, and his patron, who is like a big Daddy Warbucks character who has lots of money, but he's also like, a warmonger. He's like, yes, what a conceit that you actually found and saved B'Elanna. I must have more about this Voyager, Eternals, whatever. And Eternal seems to be the term that they use for, like, gods.
Yeah, it's fine.
But it just makes me think of, like, Marvel the Eternals.
Oh, I heard that's bad.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
That's
no.
why, yeah.
Oh, no.
I haven't seen it, but it is, like, every time he said the Eternals, I'm like, Marvel movie. Anyway, he wants another play, and Kellis is like, well, B'Elanna, I'm gonna need you to tell me lots of shit so I can write another play. And she does, but mostly because she needs his help to get, like, dilithium and bronze and other things to fix the Delta Flyer. Or, well, not the Delta Flyer, but to, like, power it up so she can send a message so that somebody else can come and save her ass. That being the Voyager.
Oh, not Vidians. Dang it. That's next episode.
Next episode.
Yes!
Meanwhile, Harry Kim wound up also on the planet, we find out, in, like, the 3rd act. If you show a loaded Harry in the 1st act, you have to...
Oh, no. Harry,
know.
don't fire.
But he shows up. He's like, I just happen to have this important piece of equipment a transponder of some kind.
Snacks.
And snacks, yep. And she's like, well, I found dilithium and bronze, so I can plug this bitch in and we'll be saved in like a minute. And they are, but meanwhile, though, Kellis and his actors are like drowning to finish up this play because he can't think of a good ending to the second play. And he sends a messenger to tell B'Elanna that if she doesn't show up and help, that he's gonna kill her character off. And B'Elanna is like, no one fucking does me dirty.
Yes.
So this prima donna bitch
Fuck the
goes
prime
down
directive.
there
Except
and is
for the
like,
Star Trek
I'm
writers.
gonna, yeah. In the next episode. Ooh. Oh, yeah, that's true too. Yes, just in general. And she's like, and then B'Elanna Troy had to ascend back to the heaven, the shining Voyager, and they transport her out, and the crowd goes wild, and the end.
B'Elanna Troy.
What did I say? What I said?
Yeah.
Yeah, B'Elanna Troy, you know?
I'm into it.
I actually...
Dark eyes.
I'd be... Sorry, B'Elanna Torres. Not Troy.
So this is how Star Trek writers come up with episodes, right?
Yeah, they kidnap their actors and just like...
they have just aliens that are held captive at
They
Paramount
no,
Studios.
it's that they're writing it like literally as they're acting it, and it's like, okay, the ending, just ad lib, just make the ending like this and ad lib the rest.
Right.
You know,
Hope
for
sometimes
the
it does
best.
feel like that.
It worked for Casablanca.
Yeah, this episode it reminded me a lot of the episode of Prodigy.
Oh,
All the
World's a
Stage,
Stage.
yeah.
That's a great episode.
I
Very
haven't
so.
seen that one
Very
yet.
like
Watch
Watch
Prodigy.
Prodigy.
I just finished season 1 literally this morning.
There is only season 1.
I watched it!
Oh, then you're up to date.
Am I up to date?
There's only one season.
What the hell?
Are you at the
episode
mid-season break?
Maybe.
That might be it.
Yeah, because it was in
Well,
the
have
second
you
half.
watched like 10 episodes or like
I only
20
watched 10.
episodes?
Okay, yeah, no, then you haven't seen it.
I
yet.
only watched half the first season.
Oh my
Finish it.
God.
Yay, there's so much more and it's so good.
It's so good.
yeah,
Isn't it great?
It's similar almost to the point of now I think that the Prodigy writers might have done a little plagiarism.
Prodigy one's a little better.
I
though.
will say one thing I've really liked about Prodigy so far, because you can't say this for all of the modern Star Trek stuff, is it seems like they actually watched the show before writing anything. The first episode of Prodigy has like a really obscure reference to Voyager, and I'm like, wow, they watched all the way through even to season 7. Like, because they call it the window of dreams or whatever, and that's a one-off line.
We're
from-
not even there yet.
Right,
Holy
that's
shit.
in a couple episodes. But
Yeah, I
like,
have no idea what you're talking about.
right,
so.
yeah, no, it's just this weird throwaway like line. I'm like, holy shit, they actually watched Voyager.
Yeah. Yeah, no, whenever people are like, Janeway needs her own show, it's like, she's got one, it's called Prodigy.
Yeah.
Anyway, this one.
So there's so many problems in this episode, but like having rewatched it recently, I actually liked it a lot more rewatching it. It's not good. Like,
there are ideas here.
yeah,
I think, Caitlin, you put it best. Like, as soon as it wrapped, you're like, well, that was cute, but forgettable.
it's one that's like the
Oh,
more
I
you.
didn't say forgettable. I said useless.
No, did you?
I didn't-
Either.
I like that assessment better. The useless.
Because it's not like important, like nothing happens. We haven't driven the plot forward at all. It's just kind of like some cute fluff. But I don't think I said forgettable. I think I said
No,
like,
yeah. Either way, though.
Yeah, like you remember the mask work was really cool.
yeah, the
That's
mask.
Actually,
memorable. That's
the
memorable.
mask work is so good it actually introduces a plot hole.
What's that?
Because so they have like these like really cool like half masks that they wear like, you know, for theater purposes, and they look almost exactly like the characters because
Yeah.
they were actually modeled after the characters.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
But like, so one of the actors is wearing a B'Elanna Torres mask that looks exactly like B'Elanna Torres. Then later, the writer introduces B'Elanna Torres as, oh, my random friend from across the ocean.
Oh boy.
But the problem is she looks exactly like the mask for B'Elanna Torres, the Eternal.
Well, maybe he just modeled that mask after his friend.
Maybe, but like no one finds that suspicious. I mean, I guess the girlfriend found everything
I
suspicious.
was gonna say that
'cause
could explain why she got so bent out of shape. Like, oh, you made a mask of this girl,
Right, like, it's like, but they could have said that, and that actually would have felt like way more reasonable for her to be like, whoa, what?
Her
What
whole
the
bullshit
heck?
comes out of nowhere, right? Because it's like at
Yeah.
the beginning,
Yeah.
she's like, "Want to go fuck?" and he's like, "No, I got writing to do." And she's like, "Nyeh." And then 30 minutes later, we haven't seen her again, and she's like, "B'Elanna, you bitch!" And it's like, "Wow,
this
where
is why
were
he
you?
wouldn't fuck. He wanted to fuck you.
I mean, we see her kind of like in the background of some scenes when B'Elanna's there, and she looks, you know, she doesn't look pleased.
Yeah.
So they
It's
kind
not-
of set that up that she was not into whole B'Elanna.
It's not
being there.
fully out of the blue, but the really extreme reaction seems pretty harsh. Although, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I'm going to ruin your play.
the main director also is kind of a miserable, awful person I don't want to interact with at all, so I guess it makes sense that his girlfriend is also pretty bad.
So I'm gonna think here. So the writer believes that B'Elanna is a eternal, which we're assuming are some kind of gods. But I'm gonna put forth that the Eternals may actually be just another alien species that visited these people in the past.
That would make sense. It's,
Yeah,
it's the
yeah,
Ferengis from False Prophets.
Because here's the thing: if they were gods, people would be way more blown away that she was there and thinking that she's a god.
I got the impression pretty distinctly that they were not considered gods, but that they were like very powerful beings, but that they were not like that, but kind of like in the sense of like the lesser demigods,
like a Olympian sort of
right?
sense.
Yeah, because the guy specifically says like if my patron finds out about you, he's going to take you hostage and use you to fight his wars.
Yeah, well, that's why I would think that maybe that they had been visited by these. Like we know from Earth history in the Star Trek universe that the Olympians were aliens,
right?
Yeah,
that
Freaking
visited
Apollo.
Earth.
And I was gonna say, and Apollo really got around.
That son of a bitch.
So I'm wondering if, for all we know, the Eternals are the same aliens. Maybe
Yeah.
Apollo was on this planet also.
Or it's the aliens that were taught how to build pyramids by the ancient Egyptians in Futurama.
Yeah, or in Stargate. Speaking of Stargate,
Yay!
Master Braytak's in this.
Who's that?
Yes.
He's Teal'c's in Stargate SG-1, Teal'c's mentor and friend.
Who'd he play in this?
He played one of the chorus members.
In a surprisingly underutilized role.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
he's
I'm
a really
surprised.
great actor.
Oh, was he the old guy that
Tony
had, like,
Amendola.
3 lines?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was even weirder was another member of the chorus, the sort of the tallish, bald one. I was like, I recognize that guy. And I looked him up, and he's already been in Star Trek 3 times at this point. He was the Klingon ambassador in Star Treks 4 and 6, and was a one-off Cardassian in DS9. And we'll see him again in Enterprise.
And the girlfriend we're going to see in Enterprise.
We will, yes. But so I was like, oh, he's probably going to be kind of important, because he's like...
Right.
I don't think he had a single line in the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, it's weird how
Also
like
just
high
as the
profile the
chorus.
side characters
Yeah.
are. For,
Yeah.
like the actors for the side
Yeah,
characters.
you're just like, oh, these people are going to be important. Nope.
Well, I think
Nope,
what
they
it is they wanted to get actors for the part of the actors in the show, the play within the play, who could portray that sort of over-the-top acting.
Oh yeah, the classical acting is a different type.
Exactly. Classical acting, which I think,
Fit
Tony
Shatner.
Amendola certainly is.
Yeah. I feel like that part actually did work. Like, that was probably a good call on there, on that part. I guess, so right from the get-go, how did that writer access the logs on the ship?
I don't know. It seems like he just went
yeah.
boop and it happened.
Yeah,
so I'm
because that's
guessing
how
maybe
starships
he
work.
just.
You just touch anything and it starts playing logs.
The first thing he touched, like, shot out phasers, and he's like, whoa, don't touch that one again.
What also makes no sense is, like, we were talking about the masks. As far as we know, he only had logs. How did he get those masks made?
Presumably there was also, like, crew details and, like...
But he didn't say he looked at
I know.
pictures.
Maybe while she was fraught with fever, he made B'Elanna draw rough sketches.
Oh,
and
there
it
we
turns
go.
out she's actually really good at drawing.
I mean, but here's the thing. There's also things that are in his first play, which remember, he hadn't talked at all to B'Elanna prior to the first play. There's things in that play that wouldn't just be in the logs, like Voyager's log. Like, is B'Elanna sitting there recording logs on the Delta Flyer being like, oh, okay, we're looking for dilithium so that we can help get our ship back home to Earth, to the shining cities of Earth, in the Voyager, because we're stuck out here in
Well, but
the
didn't
Delta
we establish
Quadrant.
a few weeks ago that for some reason the fucking Delta Flyer does have, like, Voyager's entire log history in their
it
database?
does, but I also just don't see, like, how much time did this man spend there?
He spent about 15,000 hours just listening to every log by every person.
Yeah.
Also, like, how many logs? I feel because at one point he's like, "So Tom Paris, you're in love with him." So I'm imagining like the 24th century equivalent of like drawing a heart with like your initials in it, except it's like B'Elanna being like, "Personal log. Tom is so dreamy."
Mrs. B'Elanna Paris.
Mrs. B'Elanna Troy. Son of a bitch. But like that's just how I'm picturing it. Like,
Paris and Troy.
Same guy. No, same place. Paris is from Troy. Alexander's his other name. Sometimes Paris is called Alexander.
Is he?
Rozhenko.
Oh.
Yes, Rozhenko.
Oh
there we go.
Third base!
Third base.
Yikes.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think the only mask of a Voyager character that we see in the first play was the Torres mask. And he knows what Torres looks like because she's right there. Mm. And I think all the other characters that we start to see come in after Torres has been talking.
Oh, okay.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So she
there might be a Kim mask, but I don't think we saw him.
We didn't see it close up, so it's not clear how much it might have actually looked like Garrett Wang.
So this guy,
Linus Kellis,
the poet, playwright, whatever you want to say, terrible writer.
Oh, terrible writer!
Like he's got zero creativity of his own.
Yeah,
like he just the best he can do is like ship people.
It's formulaic.
Yeah.
It was the formula of the time. Like he even says,
yeah.
Okay, there's always a mistaken identity. There's always that getting revealed, and then there's a turn. That's how you write, and you're just like, wow, you just follow the formula, huh?
I did really like that. Like one of the older actors is like, no, it's like don't fall for the tricks of writing. Just write the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
he says, no. People these days, they want love. They want to see kissing all the time. Everyone kissing. Janeway and Chakotay kissing. Yeah. Janeway and Seven kissing. B'Elanna and Tom kissing.
It definitely
he shipped Tom and Seven.
He did.
Which that's what really pissed B'Elanna off.
It is.
It did feel like, whoever wrote this episode was chafing under notes. It was just like, fuck you, fine. I'm gonna make fun of this whole process even as I work within it.
Yeah, so I'll say the story that I really actually liked was the one that in the final play where it's Borg versus Janeway. It's the showdown we love to see because it's always great. And it's Seven comes out and says, "I am actually the Borg queen, but Janeway doesn't know, and I'm going to take over the things." Shh, in that theatrical way they used to do. And then the Janeway character walks up and says, "Yeah, I know all of it." Yeah. And I'm like, that is Janeway. Uh-huh. This guy knows Janeway. He got her right.
I love that they both were like surprised.
that was actually great.
I loved it.
Well, here's the thing though, because that story, that betrayal and
it's kind of Scorpion.
That's what it is. It's like B'Elanna told him the story of what happened in Scorpion, and he didn't quite take detailed notes. So he's like, okay, so there's a Borg queen, and 7 of 9 is a Borg, and then 7 of 9 betrays Janeway, but Janeway has the upper hand because she already knew it was okay. All right, I got it.
It's a little. I know we brought up this before. The play Mr. Burns, a post-electric nightmare dream or whatever it's called. The play that is just about like how stories get told over time and they just morph into something else. It's kind of that where it's just like I can see the origins, but you did a new thing.
Well, not to spoil Rossi more than we already have, but
we done it.
That's kind of like the plot of
that Prodigy episode.
All the World is Stage. It's like these are just like stories that have been oral tradition for decades.
Also, to the point that he's a bad writer. His whole thing is like, I want to write this play to like move the heart of the Archon or whatever the fuck he's called. None of that was actually ultimately in the play.
I think he just calls him his patron.
Yeah, no, I know. But it's just like, he didn't even try.
Yeah, he says like, the perfect play could stop a war, coming from like the worst writer on the planet.
The play is just the thing to clear the conscience, whatever it is, to whatever the conscience of the king, etc.
This kid's very bad.
The Archon. Maybe the Eternals were the Archons.
There we go.
Well, he thought all the kissing. If he sees lots of kissing,
that's right.
He's gonna love the enemy.
Yeah, what a fucking idiot.
And then, Torres, rightly, the same way Torres, like schooled the doctor in real life and said that's not how things work. She schools this guy and says that's not how things work. Make a play, write a little play like you do about people getting along. And then when Janeway at the end of his little play decides not to kill this Borg queen character, you could see the patron in the audience little eyebrow goes up like, oh yeah.
But then
you don't have to kill everyone.
I could just make out with him.
All lessons forgotten
more
though.
Kissing.
As soon as B'Elanna beams away, and he just has all the actors killed as demons or something.
Whoopsie.
Well, so that's the other thing too. Like B'Elanna's like, I'm gonna finish this play in the way it should be finished. I'm gonna show the writer what's what. And then it's all just fucking spectacle. It's all just special effects. She's not acting well. She's terrible in the acting role. And then it's just a special effect. They should have called this play B'Elanna Torres Turn Off the Dark.
Woof.
Nobody
Spider-Man
died
show.
to make this show.
None of people
Not that we saw.
injured.
I loved that the older dude, who was also very wise about how you should actually do a play, was like, "Oh no, the girlfriend is just blown the whole plot," because the girlfriend shows up and is like,
It's
"She's
meta
actually
now."
an Eternal," blah. And the patron's like, "The fuck?" And the guy's like, "The patron stood and was like, the fuck." And then the patron's like, "Oh, you clever son of a
Patron's
bitch."
like, this is some meta shit. I love it.
And that day, old dude invented interactive theater for that planet. And everyone was sad.
Can you guess who the killer is?
Next up, sheer madness.
I did enjoy the little argument scene between the actor portraying Tuvok and the writer.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're like, but I want to act!
What is that, a tear? Vulcans don't have tears. I actually really like how he described Vulcans. And I can't remember what it was, because he was like, it's a very quiet planet with no laughter and no crying, and like, that silence is like, because of that silence is why they're so sad.
They're screaming on the inside, but they can't show it on the outside. It's like, you have Vulcan's number, dude.
Yeah, I was like, this guy actually gets Vulcans.
That's just literally what Tim Russ always says about being a Vulcan. Like straight up.
Oh, he's
like,
excellent.
That is directly, like...
So they just stole Tim
Russ's... Not
Russ's...
the direct words, but that is the sentiment. He's like, yeah, everything on the outside is, like, projecting peace and calm, but that's because on the inside there's, like, such a like, torrent of emotion that you're always dealing with. You know, like, that's why they need, like, the outer shell to, like, keep themselves, like, in check.
Or the Ponfar, at least.
Yeah, well, that breaks through, yeah.
I know, man. It's a good thing. It's a good thing B'Elanna didn't tell the playwright about the Ponfar.
Oh, God, yeah.
That would have gone really off the rails.
That just would have been the whole play.
Okay, speaking of Tuvok, what a weird B plot. The B plot is...
Tuvok's sleepy.
Everyone's so busy trying so hard to find Torres and Kim. We've never done this before when someone's been missing. Jesus Christ, Voyager. But Torres and Kim are the most important people all of a sudden.
Well, if Kim's gone, someone else is going to have to die when people have to die.
Oh, whoops.
You know what I mean? So you kind of really need him back.
Yeah, I mean, and so
Torres
Tuvok hasn't been sleeping and all this thing, and then he starts snoring on the bridge, and I was done. No. Like, no.
Really
It just,
cute.
his obsession didn't make...
It's not him.
Oh no, it didn't make sense
It's
at
not
all.
logical.
But I thought the snoring was cute.
It was very cute. But he of all people would know that, like, okay, I need to sleep a little bit. Like, get 8 hours and then I'll come back refreshed. I'll be fine.
It just, it felt like
for
he
another
was,
2 weeks.
for some reason, taking it personally. Like, if they'd established that somehow the mission was his idea, it still wouldn't make sense, but it would make, like, a modicum more sense.
Yeah.
Like...
I liked Tom Paris's part of that, where, like, he was really freaking out.
Yeah.
Like,
That made sense.
Yeah, it's like, because his best friend and his girlfriend are both, like, you know, like, they're missing and maybe dead, and, like...
The only people on the whole ship that like him. Gone.
Oh, no. Oh, sad face.
Oh.
No, speaking of Tom, if there was so much focus earlier in the episode about how everyone always has to be kissing. Kissing. Oh, you're in love with Tom, aren't you? Kiss. Why was there not a reunion at the end where they kiss?
Yeah.
Table flip.
Yeah.
I needed it.
Wanted to end on the beam out.
I hated it.
I will
Stupid beam out.
I will say there's one thing about this episode, the writing on this episode I did really like, is they kept pairing a real life interaction with two characters with the fictionalized writing part. Like, so when Chakotay and Janeway, like, when their characters, like, make out for a scene, you know, down on the planet, like, the actors, like, they then cut to the actual ship and had a scene with Janeway and Chakotay and, like, actually showed them interacting.
That's a good structure.
And they did that over and over. Like,
Without making out. It was really a bummer,
Yeah,
actually.
it really was.
When they switched that scene, I was like, Chakotay, I am a woman. Why should I not have the same sex that everyone else on the crew has had with you? I was like, how many people has Chakotay railed?
In this kid's mind, fucking everyone.
Well, I mean, he is the tattooed terror.
I had to say, like, imagine back on Voyager when, you know, B'Elanna's grading her report and like, that's gonna, like, go through the ship like the Holland novel from the Sesk episode.
Oh, worst case scenario.
Everyone's just gonna want to read this, like, the summary of these plays and, like,
oh, Tom will make a holo program.
Oh, he will, and Harry's like, look, they're the Lady Sisters.
I got both of them.
Oh, that's right.
I will say, you know, I realized a few weeks ago we were discussing how big could an escape pod on the Delta Flyer possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we actually saw one in Good Shepherd, we actually didn't mention, oh Christ, they're about the size of a coffin.
Mm-hmm. They're basically a coffin.
Yeah.
You'll probably die in it.
Yeah. So, like,
you're going to be very fucking sore after being in it for a week.
That's like, we're not sure how long Harry was in it, but before they established he in fact had landed on the planet too, I was just like, God, even if he survives, imagine being stuck in that thing for like a week. You'd go insane.
I feel like it could probably like knock you out. Like
that, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's almost like a stasis pod as well, because like, but apparently he crash landed and was fine.
Imagine having to clean one of those out after somebody was trapped in it for a week.
Ugh.
No, they beamed it out while they were going.
They just... No, it's like you know how like with a bicycle helmet, if you're actually in an accident, you have to just buy a new one. Once you've used an escape pod, just buy it. You make a new one.
That's good, because it is just marinated in your sweat at that point.
Oh, not just sweat.
No, I know, but...
And your screams.
Well...
of existential dread.
I don't think...
Like, I'm sure your average, escape pod is not that big, but fuck's sake, you can at least wiggle your knees a little. Wiggle your knees? What the fuck?
I don't know.
The other thing I think, so they didn't have any, and I get that it wasn't the point of the episode, but as a Star Trek episode, you cannot help but worry about the Prime Directive implications of this.
Yeah.
And obviously B'Elanna doesn't give a fuck. She doesn't care.
Well,
He's
also already found the Delta Flyer. Yeah. Like, that's pretty well fucked.
He's listened to your logs.
Yeah,
it's a couple more things.
When she finally came to, things were already pretty badly broken. But she did nothing to...
Yeah,
I think dermal regenerator.
Okay, well, at least you didn't do any... Like, at least, you did the bare minimum you needed to just survive on the planet and get the help that you needed. So, okay, it's excusable. Oh, yeah, and then also, I deliberately went back to a theater full of people so that I could be beamed out in front of them.
So he so he wouldn't kill off my character in a play.
Yeah,
vain B'Elanna.
I feel like Janeway should be throwing B'Elanna in the brig for 30 days for this.
Yeah. Or at least throwing the book at her.
There's going to be a serious dressing down that was not seen on screen.
Yeah, it is kind of funny that the show presents that as like this big triumphant moment, and it's just like, you just caused irreparable damage.
Here's the thing. There is no way she told the truth about what happened down there.
That's a good
Harry knows, though.
He wasn't at the theater. All he knows is she stayed behind. She didn't say, I'm going to go beam out from the theater.
Yeah, but the transporter operator surely, when they're beaming them up, is like,
they're like,
she's in a crowd of people right now.
400 other life forms.
Maybe I should wait until she's not in that crowd.
Here's the thing. B'Elanna beamed up and just gave him a look. And he understood. Nope, she was on her own in the field, Captain. Hand to God.
So right before the teleportation scene, did you buy B'Elanna when she was like, Harry, have you ever inspired somebody? Like, no. And that's like part of why she went back.
Torres' motivation most of this episode is troubling to me because she should have not given any shits about this guy's fucking play or world or politics on this planet.
Like,
she got a little of the Stockholm syndrome.
Having to play along so he'd get her the stuff made sense.
Mm-hmm.
But once she had what she needed, she should have been like, great, fucking bye.
He kidnapped her. He was a kidnapper.
Yes. Which
but he was bringing her acorns or whatever to eat. I mean, come on.
Yum.
Well, the other thing, right, like going back to the Prime Directive thing, so, Janeway's like, okay, so you beamed out in front of a crowd of people. All right, bad enough. But at least, it was just, you were just helping the playwright, it wouldn't have had any consequences.
They thought it was a theater thing.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't have any consequences on the outcome of the planet. The society will be unchanged. You just, you entertain some people and they'll have a cool story to tell. So that's not bad. And then B'Elanna's like, oh, yeah, no, I did it to stop a war. I did it to prevent a war from happening. Oh, a second thought.
Look at Hamorbe. It's the only way to be sure.
Yep. General Order 24 it.
I did like that they called dilithium winter's tears.
I like that too.
It was cute.
Cute term.
I'm surprised that dilithium's just like a rock you can handle. I always assumed it was going to be like something that like would be like uranium, where you would get burned by it if you touched it.
The pure stuff that was just found in the ground. They haven't been refined.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, plus
coaxium from Solo.
Well, keep in mind too, though, like dilithium isn't part of the reaction; it controls the reaction. And going back to TOS, there was that one woman who was just wearing it as a necklace.
Oh, yeah.
And it took them like the whole episode to figure out it was dilithium.
I actually learned something about controlling reaction recently. I don't remember who was telling me, but like the way like nuclear fission or whatever works, it's like it happens really fast and the control like slows down the reaction, and that's how the power happens. So like maybe that's what the dilithium's part is. It's like I was talking to somebody about Chernobyl and they were talking about, I don't know why I'm looking at you, but you were nodding, so I guess I think you knew what I was talking about.
Everything you were saying was good to my understanding.
But like I guess sometimes people will use water because water will slow it down, but they were using water and some kind of rod.
Inanimate carbon rod!
Yeah, usually it's both. It's usually everything's usually in water, and they're using rods to slow down. Like basically, when the nuclei, I think, or whatever, start shooting off from these reactions, there's so much of it that if you don't block a certain percentage of them, the reactor would just go out of control.
Yeah,
it would just blow up.
You should just
so maybe
watch
the
the
rods
Chernobyl TV show.
I'm going to. I've heard it's really good. It was recommended to me. That's how we actually got into it.
There's a whole like scene where they explain that.
Yeah, in a very watchable way too.
Yeah.
But yeah, dilithium is basically the like
rods.
Carbon rod in that case. Whereas as long as it hasn't been in an engine, it in and of itself isn't containing anything that would kill you.
Yeah, I always assumed it was like the power source. Like, I'm assuming that's wrong, but that was always
they say it's like, I don't know if it's like a moderator or if it's just like it facilitates the reaction.
Yeah, because it's a matter-antimatter reaction, and I don't think they've ever said how, but yeah, the dilithium is involved, but it's not itself a source of power.
It's also fairly inconsistent because in Star Trek 4, they had to use radiation that they sucked out of a fission reactor.
It's the Enterprise.
In order to recrystallize or like recharge the dilithium on the Klingon ship. So
yeah, don't think about it too hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Magnets, how do they work?
So I assumed that dilithium was like a battery of radiation of some kind.
But that again, like that woman was just wearing it, and I think Scotty, when he realized what it was just kind of handling it barehanded, like squeezing it into the engine because it wasn't quite the right shape.
Oh God, my hands are gonna fall off.
That's why he lost a finger canonically.
There you go.
Wow, it's been a while since we did a finger joke. So my question now is then, so this episode, how many wars did this episode prevent?
None.
Oh, rats. Writers, you tried so hard.
No, you might have started a few.
Yeah. It does sound like those guys just like went to war over nothing too.
Well, yeah. Well, a lot of people do.
But I mean extra nothing. Like
influence, territory.
The most recent one, it was like all they said was the neighboring fucking warlord like insulted their dude. So it wasn't even over resources. It was over, a con at dinner. It was
a yo mama joke.
Yeah.
So one thing that so another part of this episode I did like, and it kind of ties into the war thing, right? Is the writer said like this stage used to be a place of sacrifice.
Yeah.
They used to sacrifice people there in order to like bring good harvests and whatnot.
And now all that dies on this stage is my acting career.
But then he says like, and then just for some reason, like 100 years ago, instead of killing someone, they just performed it.
Yeah.
And then it started to become like a place of performance. And like, it's like, I would assume that would like kind of tie, like these performances are very important now to like, it's like to how the future works instead. Like, it's like bringing wealth and bringing good crops. It would have been good if they had continued to bring that in and like, instead of just making like, it's like they used to sacrifice and then they just performed the sacrifice. Well, what if instead of fighting war, they performed the war, and like kind of tried to bring that back into it instead of just having like some like supposedly uplifting play that makes people rethink things.
Well, because because it's the writers jerking themselves off about
it's
the power of art.
It's the symbolism.
But they still could have done that, and it could have been like it's. I would have gone down the route of something like you show the war instead of doing the war, but then you also show the cost of the war to make the guy rethink.
Oh, it's memorial.
Is it? Is it?
Is that the one where they're like, oh, the computer says you just killed 4 million of our men?
No.
That's the one I was thinking of.
No, that's a TOS. This was a couple weeks ago. What was that obelisk?
That gave
everybody the memories.
PTSD.
Yeah, similar. Yeah.
See, I was going to say the problem is you start off just doing a play and then it turns into that TOS episode where they're like, no, we actually have to have people die though, so we'll vaporize them.
See?
What the hell is that called?
The last comment I kind of have is for any directors in the crowd here. How do you think Kellis was as a director of actors?
Oh, awful. He wasn't directing at all. He was too busy writing the play to do any directing.
I was about to say, I have long said the writer and the director should almost never be the same person.
But he's an auteur!
Yeah.
I also get that, back in the day, that was kind of how it was done, too. Like, it was often a shared duty.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, like that's how it was. You'd have a company of actors, and there was, like, a writer, director.
All right, old man, you'll play the old man.
I'm pretty sure that's how, like, Shakespeare worked, more or less.
That's certainly how I've seen it depicted in things. I don't know how accurate that is, but yeah, at some point we realized it was a terrible idea for them to be the same person, and by and large...
It's felt like at times he was like the people would be acting and doing, their job. And then the guy would be like, whoa, no, you don't do that. And, like, there's no way the actors could have known. Yeah. Like, because he has all of this headcanon that he didn't explain to anybody. And he's like, no, you're doing it wrong. Why aren't you doing it right, even though I didn't tell you how to do it right?
Case of Armageddon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Took me a while to go into the memory bank.
It's fucking incredible. I don't know how the fuck you do that.
Those goofy hats.
Oh, the hats. The hats are so bad.
But yes, no, he was not good at his job.
You know what was great in this is the costuming in this, where it's actually interesting, because I know the costume designer, Robert Blockman, was nominated for an Emmy for costuming for this episode, and he had requested, because he, made all these, long, roby things. I don't know if he's the one that made the masks or what, but, he was really proud of the work of this episode. And he asked the director, could you get as many, full-length shots as possible, because, if it's just torso up, you're not seeing all the other stuff. And there were a lot of full-length shots.
Yeah.
The costuming was good. Yeah. And I do wonder, would the masks be prop department or costuming?
I know, right? I think it's a communication between the both.
Yeah, there's definitely got to be some sort of overlap there.
I want to know who made the helmets for the.
I love how dumb they were.
The guards, they look like, to me they look like the heads of Legos. Lego heads.
Those were clearly strictly ceremonial.
Those were so 70s Doctor Who.
Yeah, yeah, they fucking were. Those eye holes were so far from the actors' faces. They probably had to be just... There's no way they could see where they were going unless they were looking directly down.
If that's what the soldiers on this planet wear, they might not have to worry about casualties.
That's true. It's a bunch of people running around shouting.
They just stand there swinging swords. All right, someone's about to run into somebody at some point.
They occasionally run into each other and fall over like toddlers because their heads are too big.
Geez. Also, I think... Of course we notice it every week that alien species is just a little something on the forehead. But with this one, I think I'm finally at the point where I'm just done with the forehead different aliens.
It almost makes you long for the TOS and early TNG days where they didn't even have a thing.
They're just humans.
It's they're aliens because we fucking said so.
They're aliens, we put too much bronzer on.
And also, it introduces a little, not like a plot hole, because, I guess maybe we don't know what different people on this planet look like, but the fact that nobody's taken aback that B'Elanna has a completely different shaped head than anyone.
Yeah, she's from overseas.
Yeah. Not even a head caught in a rice picker excuse. She fell off a hill when she was younger and fractured her skull and it healed weird.
I was expecting her
polite to bring it up.
I was expecting her to be in disguise and have
put on a bandana,
a bandana or something. Yeah,
she was already wearing a hood. She could have just kept the hood down.
Yeah.
As you can see, my friend is a member of the Bloods. Well,
sorry, no,
there we go.
I did great.
Awkward end of
that was
episodes.
good.
What is there a way to segue, or is there any?
No.
You know what? Some of this episode filled me with fury.
I've beamed out in front of everyone.
So we just end it like the episode. It just fucking ends. Fuck it.
No
Next.
kissing.
No touching.
Hands off the ladies. Oh my god. I don't know if I have the guts to do my stupid stuff.
Do it.
Peer pressure.
Now it's gonna be even worse.
You can convince him to edit it out later if you hate it.
Will you edit it out later if I hate it?
No.
I'll think about it. I edited out. Actually, last week's episode, I think a whole 20 minutes got cut.
Whoa. What are we talking about?
A lot of schmeckes, and it was already a pretty long episode, so I was like...
You're like, it was Batman, and I knew James would literally murder us.
It was definitely stuff that, there was a whole, admittedly kind of delightful conversation about pasta types.
You lost the pasta types?
It was already a long episode.
that was
Are we
so
about
great.
to start a 20-minute detour onto pasta types that will also get cut?
No, but the probably last 3
fusilli.
minutes is not going to be here. Anyway, yes, if you genuinely despise it, I will cut it.
Okay, keep in mind that I thought of this on the way over here. It's not good. I know it's not good. Okay. I can't. Okay. Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? Oh my god, she's destroying the ship!
No, I love it, Caitlin.
No, that's definitely staying in.
Guess who's back? That's amazing.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
So
It might have to be the title.
That's
No, because it ruins the great joke.
Oh, good point.
So that's an Eminem reference. You're
Yes.
really welcome.
Don't sue us. We don't have money.
Or do. Fuck it. That was the yelling I promised, so sorry. So in Fury, I pretty much summed it up. So we're hailed, and it's fucking Kess, and she looks like shit. Oh my god. She's been living hard and fast, you know?
Like those old compans do.
Well, that's true, because, I mean, she's Ocampan and she left, so now she's, what, like 6 or 7 years old, and most of them only live to be 4 and 6? I don't know.
9.
I guess the point is she's kind of oldish for an Ocampan, so I guess it makes sense. But anyway, she's like, "Oh, Janeway, let me on, I need help." And they're like, "Sure, of course we will." And she's like, apparently just in case they didn't mean it, crashes her ship into fucking Voyager. And then she gets on board and is just psychically destroying shit left and right. And because she's asking for help, initially I'm like, can she just not help what's happening, or is she doing this on purpose? What the fuck is going on? So she makes her way to the bridge, causing destruction behind her every step of the way. Engineering. So, of course, not the bridge. Yeah, engineering. Sorry. And she pushes her way through and just goes right up to the warp core and puts her fucking hands on it and whoosh, disappears. Where the fuck did she go? She went to the past.
Oh.
Not before she killed somebody.
Oh, yeah, B'Elanna, whatever. She's barely in this show.
You know how little, like, B'Elanna likes being killed off? She'd rather beam away.
She'd rather die than be killed off. Oh, son of a bitch. So I guess my theory about keeping Harry Kim around so that somebody to die is Harry Kim didn't work out on this episode. But yeah, so she zaps the shit out of her with warp core energy, it seems. And yeah, then she zaps to the past. And now we've got one of those fun, going on 2 dates with the same person things, except it's 2 Kesses on the ship, and instead of avoiding each other, Kess is like, I'm gonna find this bitch and bring her back to Ocampa because basically Janeway ruined our whole life, and I don't want that to happen to my younger, more vulnerable self again.
I can fix this in the past!
And the way she's gonna fix it is by, giving the Vidians all the, hack codes to totally fuck Voyager up and let them get just totally wiped out and harvested, which is fucking cold. Would never expect this from Kess. And somehow they manage not to be taken over by the Vidians.
Vidians are chumps sometimes.
Yeah, they kind of suck. And Janeway, they kill her, right? They just straight up shoot old Kess and are like, you're dead now.
Yeah.
And Janeway's like, hey, young Kess, some shit just went down, and I'm going to need you to leave yourself a voice message for when this happens again in the future.
But you'll have forgotten you did it because reasons.
Because reasons. And then there's also, part of the way that we figure out that something is not wrong on the ship, aside from Kess just being kind of a weird bitch, not remembering to call Tom, being kind of a rude asshole to the doctor. I'm sure there's other things. Bringing Janeway coffee. She never does that. That felt actually like the most genuinely Kess thing to do.
The one thing she remembered how to do in Voyager was deliver the coffee.
But not without spilling it all over the desk, which I know was on purpose. Anyway, we also see Tuvok. I guess he didn't get enough sleep in the last episode
because he needed all that sleep.
He's having a no good, very bad day, and I think it's because she's got all her psychic power and the time travel and,
I think there's tachyons.
Maybe.
Yeah, magical time MacGuffins.
Yeah.
What was it? It was like, we're looking for we're checking the area for tachyons. Oh, what are you looking for? For fucking tachyons! That's what we're looking for. Weren't you listening? I don't remember what that scene was, but it annoyed me. So they leave future Kess a voicemail from past Kess, and it works. And Janeway's like, okay, you still crashed your ship into our ship, but we'll help you get home.
Please stop killing Torres. It makes Tom sad.
the end?
Kinda, yeah, it just kinda ends. Although we do get a nice little, like, goodbye scene with Neelix again. Yeah. More goodbye scenes with Neelix.
Yeah, poor Neelix.
How much of a goodbye did Neelix get the last time Kes left? Because I thought it was.
There was definitely a goodbye scene.
Oh, okay.
Well, and they broke it up by then,
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's what I was thinking of. Is
the breakup was never on screen.
Yeah.
They broke up because there was like an alternate.
Because there was a warlord in Kes.
Yeah.
And that warlord wasn't gay for Neelix, but was gay for other people.
Yeah. And then they
everyone's gay for Mole Man. Yeah. It was a t-shirt.
I feel like, and I said this to Chris already, but I feel like this whole episode could have been like completely unnecessary if Kes had just got into therapy and been like, I blame my mom for everything, and her mom is just Janeway. Because basically her whole reason for doing this is she's like, no, Janeway, you encouraged me to experience life and it didn't turn out the way I thought it would, so everything bad is your fault. And it's like, okay.
Her motivation is just really weird, and like it doesn't feel genuine.
Nope.
Because the conclusion is, oh, I forgot that you were not bad to me.
Yeah.
I forgot you were nice.
The whole scene when Janeway is like talking her down in engineering at the end, it's just like the turn is just too quick.
It's so abrupt.
It's just
like, oh, it worked. What?
Yeah, and it worked immediately.
Like the core idea of like she regrets a decision she made and chooses to blame other people for it isn't inherently bad. People do that all the time.
That's a tale as old as time.
But the way it was executed was shit.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like Kes.
Yeah. That's the other problem.
Because Kes
feels
was like,
out of character.
especially like by the Kes's character was kind of maturing very fast, and like it's like I feel like by the end, especially before she just left the show, like it's like she wouldn't have held that kind of animus towards.
Yeah, not unless she experienced some kind of major trauma.
Right.
Yeah, and I kind of wish if that were the case, that were made clear.
Yeah, it did sound like she had some kind of memory problem because she just didn't remember a lot of things.
Right. But that's like so not compelling.
Yeah, there's just way too much you have to.
Well,
yeah, it just seems like she just forgot.
Yeah, well, it's like I don't know. It's like someone has a serious drug or alcohol problem, and then they start blaming other people,
and then they start showing up to call times late and being a problem on
well,
set.
That's the thing. It's like it seems very almost meta and kind of weird that Jennifer Lean was involved in this episode.
That's why I actively hate this episode because I don't necessarily know how much anyone has ever really explained about why Jennifer Lean got fired. Definitely was having issues, I believe was having issues getting to call times and stuff. Like in I'm assuming it's the same or, at least partially lesser problems than what she's had, recently, where like she does have mental health problems. She does have drug problems. And it's kind of weird because this episode is like, it feels like the whole episode is literally gaslighting the actress.
Yeah, like they're trying to... Because we also talked about the fact that she was actually really very young.
She was, I believe, 19 when the show started. Yeah, so very young, very young, vulnerable.
Surely
in Hollywood.
Yeah, no support, active predation, I'm sure, especially from fucking Berman.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's why I'm like... Because of what you were just saying about how this does feel, it feels like almost a rebuke of Jennifer Lean.
Yeah,
and it almost feels to me like knowing sort of knowing some of, if not all, I don't know all the things, but knowing some of the backstory, it feels very much like
they're giving themselves a pass.
Well, I'm gonna put this on Berman. I don't know if it was Berman, but I'm gonna put him on him anyway. So
that's fair.
It's almost like Berman was like, oh, Jen's not doing so good. We should bring her in for a guest spot. Give her some work, get her on the show. I think
that part is true because I did read online. Berman wanted a reason to bring back Kes for an episode, and they convinced her it would be good before they'd even written anything.
And then and then like when they're writing it, they're like, okay, as long as we make her feel shitty about what happened before and gaslight her into thinking that, it was all her fault.
Yeah, because the whole episode is basically Janeway, you the person in power, and encouraged me and gave me access basically to the world, but didn't protect me. And because of that, like, everything went wrong. And that is what the show did to her. Like, it may have, unfortunately, like, if it hadn't been Star Trek, maybe it would have been something else. But, like, she was very young. She probably had existing issues. And she was all of a sudden given probably the biggest paycheck she'd ever seen in her entire life. And unfortunately, that happens all the time where, you know, it's like those people then don't get support. You know, it's like football players. Like, you know, same kind of situation.
I have all this money. What do I do with it now?
Some franchises actually try to help and, like, keep people. It's like, make sure to invest some of your money. But, like, regardless. And then, on top of all of that, when things did start to go bad for Jennifer Lean, instead of going out of their way to provide support and help for, you know, one of their most vulnerable crew members going through issues, they fired her.
Yeah.
They literally just threw her away.
Yep.
And then they have, like, the fucking gall to write this episode where very similar things happen, and the end resolution is, Cass, we know you're upset, but don't you remember how good things actually were?
Yeah.
And that's the conclusion.
Wow.
That is the solution to the problem. Is like, yeah, you might be mad, but things were actually really good back then. And that's just feels totally inexcusable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder if I didn't have knowledge of sort of some of that backstory, if I would dislike this episode as much as I do.
I think you would dislike it just in a different way.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of it that way. I was just thinking of it as, like, this is a weird time travel paradox, because you do go back, you change time. Everyone else forgets that you changed this time. Well, really, it's really only Tuvok and Cass that know it, because everyone else was in the dark about that Cass was even here. But yeah, original Cass, did this affect any of her other decisions?
No. So, well, here's the thing.
Why not?
Here's the thing. What they should have done, logically, in the final act, is instead of stopping old Cass from going back, they should have just evacuated engineering and let her go back. So that because otherwise now there's a paradox, because she doesn't go back. Janeway doesn't kill her in the past.
Oh, so you're just creating a stable time loop.
Yeah, so like, really the only thing that they don't want to happen is for B'Elanna to get killed.
I mean, Janeway doesn't want to have to kill older Cass.
No
one wants that.
But she's already done it, so it's fine.
How can we help her? It is in Janeway's nature to want to help a wayward crewman,
and also in her nature to say fuck causality.
Yeah,
I'm surprised she didn't try to blow up the ship.
Seriously,
yeah. I mean, that's obnoxious. And like I said, the turn at the end was just
bad.
Too
fast.
Yeah,
too easy.
It felt. Again, without there being some sort of story of something truly awful having happened, it just doesn't make sense for the character that we
They forgot how to write Cass.
Well, let's be honest. There's some debate if they ever knew.
So the teleplay was by Brian Fuller and Michael Taylor. Brian, I don't know how much.
I like both of them.
Right. I don't know how much it was. How much who was who. I don't even know if there's a way to tell. But Brian Fuller wasn't even on the show when. I don't think he was on the show.
No, he
when
came
Jennifer
later.
Lean
I think
left.
If they overlapped at all, it was very brief.
I think that's right.
Yeah, the story was by Rick Berman and Braga.
Yeah, because it was we want to get Cass back.
Yeah.
Here's an idea, someone write it for us.
God, I hate Rick Berman.
As much as there was turmoil behind the scenes, I did feel like the exit of Cass was handled in if not a good way, but it was handled in a way that, like, gave closure to the character.
Yeah.
We already had closure with the character.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, he means her.
Okay.
Meaning her original exit in season 4.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yes, that exit.
And, like, to bring her back now in this way, like, the whole thing in season 4 was that in The Gift was that she's ascending. She's becoming some kind of energy being or something. And, like, that's really cool. And it's like, oh god, like okay, yeah, it's sad that the characters go, leaving the show, the actors having a bad time, but at least the character's given a good send off.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no,
they undid it.
She had a shitty time after she left, and now she blames everyone for all her problems, and
But wait, there's a novel that establishes what really happened.
No.
Here we go. So this isn't Cass. It's a hybrid that was created by merging a pregnant Ocampan who was going to have one of the Nassim children from the caretaker merged with Kes to create this hybrid that's actually a manifestation of the darkness within Kes. Fixed it!
So they sent the darkness within Kes back to Ocampa?
Yeah. I appreciate that some author out there was like, that was fucking dumb, I want to undo it, but their solution was awful. I just like, here's the thing, you want to bring her back on a one-off. What would have felt way more in characters like Kes as some sort of crazy godlike being now, or whatever, is like, I've come across a problem I can't solve on my own, but I know who can help.
Janeway.
Yeah. And she shows up, she's like, I need your help, and they help some sort of thing, and then bring it all fucking full circle. She stays to watch over this group of people they just helped.
Oh, she becomes a caretaker.
Yeah, a caretaker figure.
Yeah,
but not as like,
right. No,
like, I'm going to do it right.
Yeah, that'd be really good. Like caretaker who actually, like, youth liberation caretaker.
Yeah,
the one who doesn't suppress them and then make them like live shorter lives, but actually encourages them to be their best self.
I think it would be really cool if it were established that Ocampans were just baby caretakers. No, I'm serious. So like
then the caretaker wouldn't have trouble finding an heir.
Well, but here's the thing.
Write your novel first, Jake.
I think the problem is that the Ocampans that we see in Caretaker and then in the later episode, Coldfire are like stunted, or at least the ones in Caretaker are like stunted, and that's why they die after 9 years. But what should be happening is that they should be ascending like Kes did, and in order to ascend, they need to have like those worldly experiences. They actually need to leave.
And that's
the nest.
The one thing the caretaker didn't realize.
And the other caretaker, the female caretaker from Coldfire,
Majel Barrett.
she kind of got it, but she still wanted to control them, and that's why none of her.
I like that.
Ocampans ever ascended, and like Kes is the only one that actually like flew the coop and was able to achieve that level of experience in order to become a caretaker. But then, of course, this episode just destroys that.
Yeah, no, fuck this episode.
Yeah, it's
like, God, I remember watching On the Waterfront in a class once.
What is that?
It's a very famous fucking
Is that I could have been a contender?
Yeah, famous what's his name movie?
Brando
movie. But the thing is, before we watched the movie, we were given the background of the author, screenwriter, who had very happily sung like a fucking canary at the House Un-American Activities Committee. Ooh. And in that light, you realize the whole fucking movie is basically him justifying his being a piece of shit and, handing people over to the government, and you're like, this movie sucks. This is a terrible movie. And this similarly, like, I didn't like it to begin with, but again, also wasn't really thinking in terms of real life. It's like, wow, it's even worse than I was thinking.
Yeah.
I want your class to have been like half people who read the background and half people who just watched the movie, and then horrify the people who just watched the movie by telling them the background afterwards.
Well, that's the thing. It's considered a fucking classic.
Yeah.
And people love it, and it's quoted, and that would have been interesting. But yes, the teacher told us the background before we all watched, so... And I was like, it made me unable to enjoy this film.
Quick question. What happened to the dead B'Elanna Torres timeline, which was the timeline we'd been watching this entire time?
Don't think about it.
Oh, God.
Well, yeah.
We have jumped timelines. We followed Kes to a different timeline.
Yeah, well, it has to be, right? Because Janeway... So old Kes, in her past, she did not... she just came on the ship... the old Kes that leaves at the end...
The gravestone got erased.
Yeah. So she never killed
James
Torres.
R. Kirk.
But Torres has to still be dead in the dead old Kes's timeline, who died, several years ago.
Just think of the fact that, it's like we're going on a timeline and then we followed the time traveler to a split.
Somewhere in a future prison, Captain Braxton just got heartburn and he doesn't know why.
See, that's the thing. This episode is following Back to the Future Part 2 rules, as opposed to Back to the Future Part 1 rules.
Oh, this will make sense next week when we talk Back to the Future.
So good. Really quick notes. I thought it was cute at the beginning of this episode when there was Janeway figured out Tuvok's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but why isn't that just in his file?
It should be. I'm assuming. Well, I mean, he's the security guy. He really might have gone through and scrubbed the records.
Now, here's the
funny
thing.
Idea.
And this has literally always pissed me off.
Oh, dear. I think I know what you're about to say.
How is Tuvok not 100 years old yet?
What year are you counting in? Are you in Vulcan years or are you in Terran years? Because I betcha Janeway figured it out in Vulcan years for him because it's his birthday.
Wait, how old is he?
Well, because here's the thing. We know
she says you're about to hit the big 3 digits.
Yeah, so we know he's like in his late 90s. But that would make sense because we know that he was on the Enterprise, or the Excelsior during Star Trek 6. So, and we know that was like 90 years prior to this.
Yeah.
So, was he...
I thought he was like
5 years old when he was...
I thought he was 30, like 30s. Like,
yeah, well, because he did say that was his first Starfleet assignment. So...
Could have been 20s, maybe.
Yeah, he could have been in his 20s. But still, I think it doesn't make sense that he would be under 100 in Earth years, at least. But yeah, I haven't thought of the...
That's my way out.
Because everybody in Star Trek, even on distant fucking planets in the Delta Quadrant, knows how long a day is.
Yeah.
Except
I'll see you in 2 hours. How do
except
you know
on
what
Voyager, where it's 26 hours in a day.
It's the universal translator. Fuck it. God damn it.
Oh yeah, this is last episode, but I was really annoyed by like the fact that B'Elanna could say the word bronze and that was able to get across like, it's an alloy of this and this other thing through the universal translator.
That's a good point, especially when the universal translator did not translate winter's tears, which is just their word for dilithium.
Yep.
Sorry.
Don't think about it too hard.
Sorry for dropping that in.
No, I get it. Ames? I was gonna say, this episode contains the only interaction between Seven and Kes.
Oh yeah,
they never talked in.
Nah, she was still half Borgy.
That's true.
Not face to face.
Ames, let me ask you a question.
Do it.
How do you feel that your argument that Kes is a mature adult and it's totally okay for her to be dating Neelix is affected by the fact that in this episode she's like, I was really young and impressionable and vulnerable and immature.
She literally says, I was a child.
I thought about this because there is an answer. I'm in my 30s. People in their 20s are fucking children.
No, I will say, if age of consent correlated to like mental stability and maturity, I probably still should be a virgin. Like, it's like I'm still a child. I don't know if it's like, can I make these decisions for myself? I'm not totally sure if I can make these decisions. Look at this guy over here
subtly telling us I fuck.
Yeah.
Good job, buddy.
Technically, I only admitted to a single instance of fuck.
Yeah, a V card has been lost. That's all we know.
Whoa, real cool. We got a badass over here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fucking almost 40, and sometimes I'm just like, how am I allowed to be my own person?
It's his birthday tomorrow, guys.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Back on the subject.
But anyway, I'm super mad that you had an answer.
Oh, of course.
Because on the way over, I was like, Chris, I'm gonna fucking get her. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah? What do you think about this? Remember how I said it would be weird to fuck her because she was a kid? Well, she just said she was a kid.
I don't know if they...
No, they don't.
They did.
Yeah, Neelix and her never got physically intimate.
I know they don't, but regardless.
Yeah, literally yesterday I was listening to a podcast in which the character's like, oh, I'm going to be 30 soon. She was like 28 or something, this character. I'm going to be 30 soon, and someone walked into my shop, and they looked like they were 21, and I was like, you're a child. I'm like, honey, you're a child. You're all children to me.
Everyone thinks that the people younger than them are just children.
Because they are. It's true.
Well, I think she meant it literally, and I'm taking that point as mine. I don't care.
I feel like it just varies person to person. Like, I've met people who are younger than me, and I'm just like, oh god, I am such a fucking baby compared to you. How did this happen? But then again, I've known so many people older than me, and I'm just like, what are you, fucking 12? Jesus Christ!
See, the entire Republican Party.
Woof.
Ayo.
I don't know.
Politics.
Well, anyway. Good for you. Good for you coming pre-R.
Never,
I do.
Never bring an essay to an English major. It's our job to have counter-arguments ready.
The very last thing I want to say is it was super cute when Neelix was trying to get Kes to smile. And he was like,
yeah.
oh, red alert, I'm noticing the structural integrity of your frown is collapsing or whatever.
I believe that I said, "Dear sweet Neelix," and then I was like, who the fuck am I? Remember when we first started watching the show, and I was like, ugh.
This motherfucker grows on you.
The interactions with Neelix were definitely like the later, less creepy Neelix relationship stuff, but transplanted
they figured out
into
how to
the
write
past.
it.
Yeah. It was actually just sweet and gentle.
Yeah, like the final goodbye on the transporter pad, he's looking at her like, so fucking... Like, his heart is breaking yet again. The poor man. And she asks, oh, see anyone you know? And he says, only you, and my eyes welled up. And I was like, oh, fuck, God damn it, Star Trek, you did it again.
I guess that does also bring, like, last point, I swear I'll stop talking.
We don't have the Rossi clock going.
Yeah, I know, this is your mistake, really. I made a clock specifically to prevent this. There was like no other moments of goodbye with Kes. Like, it's like none of the rest of the crew was like around at any point. It never felt like, it didn't feel like there was a goodbye going on for like what should have been like kind of a big deal return of this actor who you had unceremoniously fired. And that felt kind of wasted. Like there was already, the other episode was already a better goodbye. Like,
It definitely
but they still could have tried to do something better than what we got at the end of this episode, where like it's like there's some people I don't think Kes even interacted with, like actor-wise.
No.
Like, in fact, probably most of the actors she didn't really interact with for what was supposed to be a
She had like really brief scenes with several people.
Tom.
She like
Neelix.
looked at Tuvok across a room.
Yeah, she gave him a long stare for like 2 minutes. I was like, yeah, you're doing a great job not looking suspicious there, hon. Killing it.
He sees things, doesn't he? Even though he claimed in the last episode that my mind never plays tricks. Tuvok!
Oh, damn it. That's another thing that I forgot to say in the last episode was good to see them introducing new superpowers for Vulcans. I don't have to sleep for 2 weeks.
I think
there's another one next week. It's going to be great.
I feel like they've established before that Vulcans don't need as much sleep. They just never got so specific.
Come on, let me have this one. Abe's already pulverized my argument.
Fair enough.
Oh, also, gosh, the look on Tom's face when they're like, oh, B'Elanna's dead, and they cut to like a split second of Tom just looking so bland, it was almost comical.
I missed that.
Like, it should have been, oh no, like something should have like entirely broken his face, and he just staring like, huh?
Like, literally last week.
Like he wasn't listening.
He's losing his mind because she's missing. Now he knows she's dead, and he's just like, well.
I already did all my mourning last week. I'm done.
Listen, people grieve in different ways. He's probably just in shock.
I mean, yeah. But also, I just feel like it feels a little too much like the opening of Austin Powers 2. Wait a tick! I'm single again!
It's always Austin Powers and Batman.
Yeah, it's true.
So basically, just like the second ending for Kes being less good than its first ending, now we have an Austin Powers ending to this segment, which is less good than the first ending of the segment.
Cool. Are we ending the segment? Let's end the segment, because I think...
I don't know, do you want him to keep doing that?
No.
Alright, well,
but I did want to say that...
Oh, give it to us, Amy.
Yes.
I did want to say that Chakotay in the past, sympathizing with the Vidians was very Chakotay.
Yeah,
Of course.
He is so good at that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had one more note. What was it? It's on this list right in front of my face. Which one is it? Oh, they brought back the Doctor's name hunt just to forget so they can forget it again later.
Yeah.
Good times. But in honor of seeing our double Kes this week, we're going to be talking a lot of doubles from all across Star Trek for our blogtivity. There are a lot, so I'm going to try to go quick, and maybe some of them will just be on the blog. So make sure you head over to sshbpodcast.com. Check out the blog there. It's already live. It's in the show notes. You can see all of them and check off if we cover them on this list.
The
I
time
that
that
they... a double check off.
Good one. That was good. The time we split Kirk in half. That's a good one.
Which time?
Evil Kirk,
the
good
first
Kirk?
time. Yeah,
the enemy within Kirk?
That one.
Because we do it a bunch of times. We also do it in What a Little Girl's Made Of.
Oh, that's right. The android Kirk. I forgot about that.
Yeah, there's an android Kirk.
What a gross name for an
Well, if we're
episode.
counting androids, then all the Stellas.
All the Stellas. That's a good one.
Hardcore!
Does the salt monster ever disguise itself as any
McCoy.
of the...
Yeah.
Okay, yes, okay. I'm pretty sure it's disguised itself as one of the major characters.
Salt
but I don't remember.
vampire.
Yes, vampire, sorry.
I'm just kidding.
Nancy.
And we have a couple other
Plum.
double Kirks running around. Jake just watched one today.
Oh yeah, Martia in Star Trek 6.
Yep.
Shapeshifter.
Yeah.
And
It helps him escape from Aurora Pente.
Yeah, Iman, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Beautiful, love it. We also see Garth of Izar pretending to be Kirk at one point. He pretends to be fucking everybody.
Yeah.
That's right, I forgot
Because he
about
learns
that.
how to
Warden.
shapeshift.
There's a lot of that in that damn series.
There's so... TOS, even though they didn't have the technology to do doubles, did a lot of fucking doubles.
Mm.
Do we count doppelgangers that are just different characters played by the same actor?
Mm.
Because there's also
Like
Sam Kirk.
No, that does not count. That's a different character.
Does Gothos ever take on anybody else's shape?
No, he doesn't. He's always very, very pretty. What's his name?
Koloff.
Koloff.
The
William
actor informally known as Koloff.
William Campbell.
There we go.
Well, speaking of which, I've noticed that Captain Koloff looks a lot like the Squire of Gothos.
Sadly, they never meet. What a shame.
It's a
Yeah,
shame.
I never seen
Waste.
them in the same room.
And there's one more double Kirk because in The Survivor in TAS, the Vendorian, the flappy tentacle monster,
That's right.
he pretends to be all kinds of things, including a bed.
Well, if we're counting TAS, what about Spock 2?
Oh, that's right.
Yes!
Yeah, the giant Spock.
There's a doppelganger if one's giant and the other's normal.
It
size.
is.
Okay.
I count it.
All right.
I count it because it's ridiculous. Because it's literally a second Spock.
Yeah.
What more do you want?
Oh, Dumb Picard.
Which one?
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that's
the
the
one
time,
that like
the
flies the
time
plane.
Picard.
or
Wait,
the
wait.
Time Shuttle.
Are we counting time displaced doppelgangers?
Yeah,
I know
why
a time
not?
displaced doppelganger inspired. Okay, I just
Why
wanted to
not?
be sure.
There aren't that many.
I wanted to be sure of the rules.
I mean, do we count Data and Lore?
No, because Lore is a different character.
That's true, but doesn't he pretend to be Data
So
sometimes?
is Spock too.
I don't know about
Spock 2 is
I
a
don't know
different
about
character.
Pretending to be.
Well, they also look exactly the same, and that's what doppelganger
Yeah, that's
means.
true. I
Yeah.
count it. That's
The
not
whole
on
sung
count.
line.
I put it on my
We have
list.
to count
So B4.
Yeah.
and then every other Soong who's ever existed.
That fucking
Should
family.
probably throw this in there just
The
because we're
seed is
talking
strong.
data, but fistful of data's data.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah,
many
yeah.
datas. Those ones are incontrovertibly duplicates.
Oh wow, I didn't think of. I didn't even have that one.
And then there's the episode of TNG where Picard is away in a space prison and they've left a copy of him on the ship.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's Allegiance. That's a weird one. He sings a song.
He does.
Yeah,
yes,
look, that's why the senior crew is like, oh, shit's bad.
that's not the captain I know.
I love, him singing a song, and then it's like dramatic music, and it
He's like
zooms in on Riker, and he's like,
He's like, free drinks on me. It's like,
Well, I mean,
right.
we don't pay for them anyway, but okay.
He tries to bang Crusher. That's a little far, guy.
Yeah, Picard would never bang.
yeah,
Crusher.
ever.
Oh, but of course, Riker gives us Thomas
Tom
Riker.
Riker.
He
Yep.
does. Riker also, and Pulaski both, have clones made
That's
out of
right.
Yeah.
That weird
in
episode.
the weird, like, dual plot from
Yeah.
Up the Long Ladder. Because not only
Yeah.
is it weird Irish planet, it's also
Weird
upsetting
clone party.
Yep.
on Pit Planet.
upsetting clones.
Yeah.
And then he killed the fuck out of them.
Just shot them in their cloning sleep.
I don't think it happens in TNG at all, so we'll have to double back. But because I'm thinking TNG, how many O'Briens are there?
I was gonna say
So
my
many.
favorite hands down is the O'Brien that was like
Robrian.
What? Which?
the rope.
The robot.
I can't remember if he was a robot, but he was
Replicant.
such a perfect copy of O'Brien
Yeah, the
that he
replicant
kind
one.
of forgot that he was a copy
Yep.
and just thought everyone on the ship was being suspicious because they all knew he was a copy.
Yep.
That's just how they treat him, though.
Right, yeah.
And then
But
all
I love that episode.
the time duplicate O'Briens in that other episode.
Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah,
visionary. That's another really good one.
Shit, I had a thought. I had one, and it's gone. Oh, that time we see centuries older Odo on that planet that doesn't exist.
Oh,
Yes, yeah.
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 I mean-
He does link with himself.
He does.
That's true.
So
Oh, that's weird when he was in that jar, right?
Yeah,
That's, okay,
he's in
that's
the
a good
bucket.
point.
That's time displacement.
Yeah.
What was
So
that one
would
that
count.
was?
That
not
was Children of
Monk.
Time.
Children of Time.
It was one of the many scenes where they let Avery Brooks interact with a baby and
Oh my god, he loves babies.
Yeah, like, that is not acting. That man just fucking loves babies.
I just got to the episode, I'm rewatching Deep Space Nine, I'm almost done, where, like, he finds out Cassidy's pregnant, and he's like, we're gonna have a baby.
You're
So
never
excited.
gonna meet it.
Well, but he
now
doesn't
I'm
know
sad.
that. But he gets so excited, and I'm like, that's real. Avery Brooks just loves babies.
So I jumped us ahead. What else? I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
TNG has more.
The quantum episode with Worf.
Oh,
Oh,
parallel.
right!
I
Yeah.
didn't have parallel.
Doubles and triples and
Bridge?
Oh
No,
there's-
not that
Two-
one.
Oh, but
there-
there's
how
that
many ships at the end when they're all popping
Literally
into the same
thousands.
spot?
Well,
Oh
yeah, I think
god, and there's that one Riker who's like, please save us! And they're like, no,
Borg are
bye.
everywhere. That's so good.
That's
a
so
good
fucked up.
one.
But yeah, technically we see all sorts of doubles then, just not at the same time.
Yeah.
But is that's not two
No,
two
that's
bridges,
the
one
Nagilum
Riker,
episode,
two,
I think.
two
Isn't it?
Rikers, one
Speaking
bridge.
of Nagilum does pretend to be Troy and Data at the same time.
Oh, that's right.
And he walks in as Picard's ready to blow up the ship. And he's like, well, okay, let's talk about you blowing up the ship.
That's right.
Can you not? Because it would ruin my day.
But yeah, no, two Rikers, one bridge is a different episode. They beam over to... is that the Nagilum one as well, or is that a different one? Two Rikers.
That's
one
also
bridge?
Nagilum.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we see two bridges, but I don't think we see two Rikers.
No.
Oh, that's right. Two
You
bridges,
just
one
see-
It's
Riker.
a double bridge.
He
Yeah.
sees Riker through the bridge. So we see the same Riker in two places.
It's kind of like...
It's a mirror.
It's like
Yeah.
Portal,
Yeah.
when you can look at yourself.
He's portable.
One more, actually two more if you count the movies from TNG. We'll always have Paris. Just everyone's doubles all over the place because of the weird time distortion.
Oh, and Picard's clone thing.
Shinzon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Picard's clone thing is the better name for him because fuck that movie to death.
But see, here's the thing. Although it's a clone, I wouldn't call it a doppelganger.
No, they look nothing alike.
Because they look
Actually,
nothing alike.
It's still
They
fun.
slapped that big fake nose on Tom Hardy, and it did not make a difference.
This is definitely questionable, but the fake Kales that was created.
Oh, yeah.
The fake-
clone.
Oh, he's
the
a
clone.
clone.
Of Kalis is
You're
real.
right.
Yeah, he's a clone and he thinks he's the real one. Like,
I'll give that one to you.
And then
Yeah.
the Klingons, because they're always so fucking honest, they're like, yeah, let's just roll with it. We'll let him be emperor.
Do what
Why
you
not?
want. You have no power. It doesn't matter to
Oh,
us.
God.
I'm
You
sad
know,
he didn't show up more.
yeah, that would have been
He
fun.
would have been a cool
What about-
character.
Now, are we going to count people who were duplicated by changelings?
I was just about to ask that.
I think that's one giant
Okay.
category.
I think that isn't that literally what a doppelganger like is like an entity that has just assumed your physical form.
Yeah, because we'd also have to then include another O'Brien because he appeared.
Oh,
on
he does,
Earth
that's right.
in
Yep.
Paradise Lost.
Yeah, he's all smarmy.
Yeah, as well
Yeah,
as
there's just a lot of change.
The
Yeah,
episode
Admiral, I
with
think,
the two
Leighton-
O'Briens on that when they were like stuck on the ship and they were doing the thing.
what?
Did I say O'Briens? The two,
You did.
the two. No, not two. Well, there might have been two. The two. Shit, Doctor. But
Oh,
Bashir?
Bashir.
thank you.
Well,
Yes.
there's a time when they were hunting the changeling.
Oh, in the thing, the movie.
in the thing,
Right,
the
yeah.
episode.
Oh, but then there's also...
and then there's
God.
also clone or not clone, but there's also
Changeling.
changeling Bashir who
Changeling.
Well, when Bashir was in prison.
Changeling...
Oh, yeah, that's
Changeling,
right.
yeah.
I forgot all about
Changeling
that.
Martok.
Yeah.
Changeling Martok.
Yeah.
Same
And,
guy.
and Changeling... No, there isn't a Changeling Gowron. They thought it was Gowron, but it was actually
Yeah.
Martok.
Yeah.
What about Little Molly and Big Molly?
That's the same girl.
It's not a...
She never meets herself.
Yeah, it's not
Yes,
a...
she
does
does.
meet
She
herself.
meets herself in the cave.
Oh,
In
very
the last-
briefly.
Oh, that's
You're
right.
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 Shit.
Yeah, I
That's
forgot
a
about
good
that.
one.
Good memory.
Point. Good point.
You just
Well, I mean,
watched
I was
the
gonna say I've been watching. Well, no, it was probably months ago now, but
Also,
if I watch
honestly,
something enough times, I'll remember it. It just takes
Yeah, that's
years.
right. She encounters herself just long enough to break causality.
Yep. And
And,
somewhere, Captain Braxton gets heartburn.
And Duquesne whoops.
There's lots of Wayuns. I know
I
they're
was
clones.
just
Yeah,
gonna
all the
say
Vordans.
Wayuns. Yeah, the Vordans.
But the two of them do meet once.
Two of them see the songs on a screen.
Yeah, 5 and 6. 5 and
Sounds
6
right.
or 6 and 7, but I think
That's-
it's 5 and 6.
Treachery, Faith in the Great River.
That's such a great episode.
It's such a good episode.
I had another fucking Deep Space Nine idea too, and now I can't remember what it was.
don't
Well,
know
I
what
guess
it is
I
either.
guess Dax, kinda.
That's
I
different.
wouldn't call them doppelgangers though. I think that's just a
what?
trope thing.
What about the time?
What about Curzotto?
Yeah, no. What about that episode where? Well, I guess they
That's-
aren't physically.
We're-
they
we're
inhabit.
stretching the
Yeah, no,
definition.
no. I think at a minimum there should at least be a physical resemblance of some kind.
Oh, and I think we said it off air, but obviously we're not counting Mirror Universe. That's a different thing.
We'll do that.
That'll have its
we'll
own
do that
episode
when we hit
someday.
Enterprise. It'll be a good day for Chris. And just backtracking one more because I missed this one when we were back in TOS, but also the motion picture. The idea probe I would count as a doppelganger.
Yeah. Good point.
They murdered the shit out of the original. And
they did.
Replaced her.
They did.
Poor person.
I had another Deep Space Nine one, and now I can't think of what it was.
Was it Changelings? Was it more Changelings?
No, it wasn't Changelings.
Is it Sarah Cisco?
Maybe it was just Molly and Molly. It wasn't Molly and Molly. It was something else. I don't know. Maybe I'll think of it.
Yeah, if you think of it, maybe it'll make the blog. Although I don't know because I think Tumblr is forcing everyone to go to the fucking beta thing, which I hate, and they have a cap on images, so we'll see what the fuck I do. But moving on, yes, we have this episode from Voyager, Fury, where we definitely see two Kesses, and one of them pinches the other one out.
Yeah.
There's the dual Kims.
Yeah. Well,
from when the ship splits.
The whole ship.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Everyone, because Janeway talks to herself.
Oh, that's
dueling
Deadlock.
Kims, but it's like clarinets.
and then
the double went down to
there's
wherever
also the
Kim
episode. It's like an early episode where they see the other Voyager.
Oh, time and again, I think.
Yeah.
Was that a different Voyager, or was that a reflection?
I think that was like a temporal reflection.
But it was another physical. It
Yeah.
was
Right,
True.
because they were like sending messages to each other and shit or something to try to make them...
Parallax. I think that was Parallax. Actually.
Parallax. That sounds
Time
right.
again is when they went back
yeah.
in time.
Time and again, that's the one where they're on that weird planet, right?
Yeah, where they dress up like they're Burger King employees.
And they have to stop the terrorists.
Yeah, God, those costumes.
And Tom eats that little boy. It's great.
And that clock had Roman numerals. Not Roman numerals, Arabic numerals. Pissed me off so much. Isn't there another episode where there's two Janeways, but like they're actually on the ship together?
That's the same one. That's Deadlock.
Yeah, in Deadlock, yeah, they have to work together to save.
Okay,
and then they almost kiss.
Right, okay.
Yes.
There's an episode where the Doctor meets his creator, Zimmerman.
Oh, yeah.
And they look at the same.
We're going to talk about this next week too, but that's a toughie because those are different people again.
But they're
okay, but what
We're
about...
counting the Sung...
But what...
You're counting the Sung things.
What about when the Doctor is like a big famous singer, but then Girlfriend's like copy and paste him, but also gives him more rage?
Say in the same vein, there's the evil EMH.
Oh yeah,
from...
Dr. Jekyll and Dr. Hyde.
No, from the episode where they meet the other Starfleet ship.
Right.
That's
the evil MH.
Yeah. MH. I was gonna say technically, the EMH from Living Witness is a copy of,
That's true.
of the EMH.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's from the backup module.
Yeah.
Which you would think the backup module would maybe get brought up more in all these times.
Well, they lost
you
it.
Know, that's true, and I guess they only had the one, but like, let's say you wanted to send the Doctor to like the Alpha Quadrant or something, you could have had a backup module so you wouldn't lose your Doctor for a month. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
as a
how hard would it be to
thing.
make another copy? They tell me they don't have any
send
extra
us the
floppy
plans.
disks.
Hey Starfleet, send us the
whatever.
plans for the backup module so we can make a new one.
Yeah. We definitely...
God, how many floppy disks would it take to hold the image? Like a million? Like, please insert disk number 600, 500, 25,000, 600 minutes.
I mean, these motherfuckers still have an individual book per pad. They are bad at memory.
Yeah, or those little wooden blocks.
I bet you could fit the Doctor on one of those blocks. Just one.
Nope.
Yes. Okay, fine.
Rossi meant to be with us for Course Oblivion. Were you with us for Course
I
Oblivion?
think I was for there.
I don't remember which episode
You're
is
right.
which anymore.
Why did I not remember
I
Course
don't
That's
know.
why I was here for those episodes on purpose.
Wait, what was Course Oblivion?
That
was with the doppelgangers.
Well, that was the second
Silver
Bloods.
Well, that's what I just said, yeah.
That was the second Silver Bloods episode because there was
Demon
also...
was the
There
other
was
one.
the two.
Yeah,
there was two
God.
doppelganger episodes.
Yeah, you were here for it. We all were really mad at the episode.
I loved it.
I don't think it was you. I think it was your Silver Blood
Yeah, it might
counterpart.
have
Maybe
been,
that's
yeah.
why you don't remember.
Well, I was saying, like, I was mad, but I also, I don't know if you heard, I did have to include it on my best of, because even though I viscerally hated
That's
how
right,
it made
yeah.
me feel, that was its point, so I had to begrudgingly say it's good, even though I hate how it makes me fucking feel.
So good.
But it's objectively good.
It is!
Do we count all of the 7 of 9s that died in Relativity?
Let's go with sure.
I think so.
Because they had to keep getting her back because they kept killing her.
It's like Super Meat Boy. She dies, just you push A, respawn the episode.
Yeah.
Is there still a 7 of 9 just with the Time Commission or whatever?
No, they do.
They merge them. They put her body back inside her body.
I couldn't remember. I thought one stayed with them.
I wish.
It feels like what they were going for.
Yeah.
They should have, because then they could have adventures.
Then they could have had a spin-off.
I would love it. That would be the spin-off we need. The 709 spin-off we need.
Star Trek Relativity.
Yes.
That would be actually. Can you imagine? It would just basically be like an Elseworlds imprint.
Just
it would just be like
please.
they go to versions of the Federation where time went wrong. Just every episode is a new time.
That's
went
actually
wrong.
a great idea
That'd
for
be
a
fun.
Star Trek series.
Yeah.
At one point,
They'll never do it that
At one
way.
point,
It's
Duquesne
fun.
just sits there with his head in his hands, going, "Maybe Braxton had a point about Janeway."
Yeah.
Does Janeway and her hologram count? Prodigy?
From Prodigy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think so.
I feel like it kind of counts.
The most tenuous one that I found on a list on Memory Alpha that I don't know if we should count. Double Torres in Faces.
Well, that's if we're counting the body split in
Second Chances?
Enemy
Enemy Within?
I'd count them.
All right. We did have to have Roxanne act across from herself, so...
Yeah, I feel like that might be kind of pushing it in a few weird ways, but
I already have a screen grab of it, so...
Ooh!
Done and done.
Well, I guess it's not a doppelganger, but
Damn.
if the Molly one counts, should we count old
Shit.
Alexander?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he does meet himself.
That's right.
Shit.
What?
Yeah, I guess that.
Oh,
yeah, that would
yeah.
count.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Jake doesn't.
Jake
Jake doesn't meet
young
young
Jake.
But he does meet Cisco.
That's just
Yeah,
his
but it's not a
dad.
doppelganger.
When you think about it, your parents are like two halves of your doppelganger.
That's true.
So
Oh, weird.
Okay, fine.
I don't like that for some reason. That upsets me.
Alright, I think that's everything that I had up to where we are. I know there's a couple in Enterprise that I'll cover in the blog post.
I don't remember, but I believe you.
There are two. There's a double Mayweather and there's a double Tucker. It's a good time. And then there's a couple more in Lower Decks. I think I mentioned before that there's double Boimlers running around doing a comedy as they do, which is quite good.
As a question, to avoid spoilers, should we leave the Enterprise and on for like a second round that we do later? Because there are at least some from newer Trek that I can think of that would be spoilery if people were not up to date on, say, Discovery and Picard.
I've been including things in the blog post that spoil the fuck out of everything, so...
But we do actually have someone here today who hasn't seen things.
That's a good
So talking about them at least would be a problem.
Yeah, well, we
Look
already
to the blog.
we already
for those.
fucked up Prodigy, or did we?
My experience.
Alright, well, to save Rossi the rest of the spoilers... Oh, there's also a
I can
double...
go in the other room. I don't know.
No.
There's only two more, and they're both from Picard, so... Well, I'll not
Oh, I don't care about Picard. Maybe
You
season
know.
3.
So they'll go. They may go in the blog post. They may not. I may decide they don't count because fuck Picard.
You never know with these people.
Wow, that was way more than I thought it would be. They'll never all fit in the blog.
There's a lot of doppelgangers.
Shit. I know. What is it? There's something about like science fiction and just
They like it too much.
doubling yourself and having conversations with yourself.
I feel like it's kind of in the same vein as like when Star Trek does like you're having a mental like breakdown and your personality is being represented by other people that you meet.
Yeah, or
other people
someone
that
is
you know.
pretending to be you for nefarious purposes.
Yeah. So
We see
it's
it
kind of a
lot.
go-to.
It really is. And this proves it because I've got like 42 on my list.
That's the Star Trek number.
What?
Neat.
Yeah, 42 is one of those numbers Star Trek uses all the time.
Is it?
I'm serious.
Are you
yeah.
thinking of a Hitchhiker's Guide?
No, it's also Weird Al, but like 42 gets used a lot in
They
Star
do.
Trek.
It actually has its own page on Memory
Yeah.
Alpha for all the times it gets used as like room numbers.
It's
and shit.
it's just one of their like writer
Were they
things.
thinking of Hitchhiker's Guide?
I'm sure
Probably.
they were.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a reference.
Okay,
it's
great.
possible.
Yeah, but yeah, no, they'll just be like Deck 5, Section 42. I think they even do that in the next episode, one of the next episodes we talk about.
Yeah, it's like if you ever watch anything on Pixar, like there was like the room where they used to have where all of the original designers had their university class.
Yeah.
That number shows up in fucking every Pixar movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
was it whatever?
Pizza Planet.
52 Sherman Wallaby Way.
No, it's like A113 or something like that.
In Wall-E, that's literally just the name of the autopilot
Ah.
is that number.
Mm.
All right. Well, Jake is playing with toys from Generations.
I'm not playing with my dolls.
No,
You've
I
just been
didn't catch you
waiting for
playing with your
someone
dolls again,
To
sir.
point it out so you could say that line.
No, but I'm glad I did.
I told you not to call me on this wall.
All I've been thinking the whole time you've been doing that is like, wow, they put a lot of effort into the Duras sisters' cleavage.
Oh, yeah.
But none into Whoopi's eyes.
Or
which
anyone's
are, like, a little
face.
weird.
Yeah.
My eyes are up here. No, they're not. Oh, well, good point,
Where
I guess.
are they? They're staring into my soul. Speaking of staring into my soul is crumbling because we've been talking for a very long time, so let's wrap this up.
Yeah,
as I said,
and I'm James.
Thank you,
Yay!
James. See whatever the fuck I put together for our doppelganger chat over on our Tumblr page, sshbpodcast.thing. Go over there, enjoy that. You can also enjoy whatever we're doing next week, which I think I alluded to. If things go right and we don't forget to do this, or we do it out of order, which does happen, I'll give Chris 2 options right now. Next week, because of all of our fucking with time that Fury Cast did, we're finally going to watch a whole bunch of Back to the Futures. I'm hoping it'll be all 3. We'll see what we have time for, because Jesus Christ, that's a lot of movie.
Huey Lewis and the News.
So good, though. It'll be a great time. So yeah, check out that. Or, alternately, if we forget to do that, next week's episodes, more of The Voyager.
Yay!
Episodes next week are going to be Lifeline and The Haunting of Deck 12. So check us out for that. We're almost done with season 6-ish.
Which is crazy.
Which is fucking crazy.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long road.
Getting from there to here.
From there to here.
We're also on Facebook and Twitter, and we do the other things. Check us out there. That has been it. This has been Double Aims.
This has been Caitlin. Sorry. I don't know why. Ames just cracked me up with that.
This is Jake and Jake.
This is Quadruple Chris.
Oh, shit.
And I'm James, but a different one from the one that said it earlier.
We replaced James mid-conversation.
We tried to beam him out. There was a storm. It's a whole thing.
Fine.
He
One of
turned
them's going
inside
to-
out, and then he exploded.
One of them's going to Cardassian prison for the rest of his life.
One of them has fake sideburns.
How do you feel about rigatonis?